live, doggy.
I see that.
Live during quarantine. Sucks. Did I mention quarantine? Really sucks. Well, dog, I got my email off to the NRCS to buy some windrow trees for the north part of our property.
That's riveting. Riveting.
A couple hundred trees, so I reckon about 10 minutes tree, a couple thousand minutes worth of work. Should be all right. I got a lot to do this summer.
Yes, you do. What's up, guys? How are you? How's everybody?
Willem.
Happy Thursday. Yeah, happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday.
Monday, Thursday, I believe, to
Happy
people
Monday,
of the cloth.
Thursday, to our Catholic and Episcopal and hardcore Lutheran friends.
Having a birthday concert for Chavis Norton. It's Chavis Norton's birthday today. Yeah, happy birthday, buddy.
Sweet.
Happy birthday,
Chavis. Hell yeah.
We should probably sing him a song, John. Why don't you go? I'll sing with you. Go for it.
Oh, I'll sing him a song. I'll sing his mom a song. But his dad.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
For those of you guys who don't know Chavis's dad, let's just say, well, he's a rugby guy. I'd sing him a song too. What should we sing for Chavis?
We should probably sing him happy birthday. Shouldn't we?
Happy birthday. Hot Carl, I got your polo. Watched it and still haven't gotten back to you. I'm glad that you're feeling better. God dang it. I'm a good friend, dog. Sawyer.
Chavis Norton.
Roberto Corona. Actually, we need to lose the corona after this whole COVID-19 stuff. Roberto COVID.
Chavis Norton. Happy birthday. Sing him a song, John.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Chavis.
Dear Chavis. Hi, Dad.
Happy birthday
to you.
Dad.
Hi, Dad. Hi, Dad.
My
can
real
only
dad's
be
supposed to, my real dad's
one
supposed
dad.
to log on. There can only be one dad. There can be 5 dads. No more. No less. God bless you, Charity Frank. God bless you, Robin Blugberg. God bless you, Jim Napier. God bless you, John McClellan. God bless you, who's the 5th dad? Going brain dead. Ben Grafani, because that's who the other one. Love you, Ben. But that was a given that you're the dad because I was looking at your name. Who's that 5th dad?
Hey, there's Stetson. There he wants to say hi. There you go. All right, got it. So Pete. I was gonna say. So those of you guys that joined us last week, the first time we did this, the inaugural Hangtime sesh, we went over 4 songs last week, all new ones. We're gonna do the same thing this week. Got some notes here from the ever elusive Jim Napier that we will be quoting. I will be quoting directly, and because he is such a recluse that he doesn't believe in internet, so he likes to say that he has a weak signal, but we all know that he hasn't even invested in any internet. So
actually, dog, have you been to Jim Napier's compound in the woods? Have you been to?
What's that?
Have you been?
I have not yet.
The Jim and Jen compound. Yeah, dude.
I have not.
He has crappy service. Let's just say that.
Okay.
He lives in a holler. Not even joking. Lives in a holler.
Well, regardless, he will be here in notation. So, why don't we want to what? You want to do Madison first?
Yeah, absolutely.
So so last week we did 4 songs. We do 4 more, and then there's going to be a couple other ones that'll be on the next project, which was originally planned to be released somewhere in May, and now it's probably going to be next May. But just know that it's not in the can yet, but all the demos are ready to go. So we'll keep tracking as soon as we can actually touch somebody else. So this is a song called Madison that John will introduce in his own way. What's the backstory with it that you want to talk about?
Well, so Jim, actually, I should look it up. Jim sent me a an MP3 of just a random thing that he recorded one day on his phone on GarageBand, and it's just loose and crappy. But I just thought, damn, that's really good. It certainly had wheels. Hell, I should have looked it up. If I can find it, dog, I'll play it here over this. I don't know if it'll work. There we go. Found it.
This week we did 4 songs. We did Forward in the Moon.
So Jim sent me
Calling me back home, and to think that I could ever leave Virginia. The days roll on, the nights are cold and lonesome. I miss you, Madison. It's time I was home. I hope I'll be forgiven.
So Jim just sends me that, and like we'll send each other song snippets and ditties all the time. But I bet he sent me that. I wonder if there's a date on it. I would say probably 2016, 2017.
John, why don't you turn up your vocals? People are having a hard time hearing you.
Got it. April. So he sent it to me on April 27th, 2017. Let's try that.
Yeah,
How's
we got
that,
it,
dog?
Nelly. Thank you, Nelly, for being the 7th person to tell us. Appreciate it. We got you.
Guys, how's that? Dog, drinking is hazardous to the health. Randy and I would goddamn know, wouldn't we, brother? So anyways, regarding the song Madison, April 2017, so literally 3 years ago now. And then it wasn't until October of 2018 that I wrote on my lyric sheet, finished October 18th. And then I know that we've tweaked it at least a couple times lyrically since then. So the songs, it's kind of an old idea, but it's still a new song. So what did Jim share with you about his thoughts on Madison?
I just had it pulled up. Madison will always hold a very special place. These are the words of Jim Cranston Napier. Madison will always hold a very special place in my heart. John and I had written songs previously, which were performed by the full band. We had probably written together for a dozen years or so, but time had passed. Life got busy and things move on. But Madison represented a revival in our music. I sent the hook to John and forgot all about it. Maybe a year later, he sang me the hook and maybe a rough verse, and a light bulb went off for both of us. And it was like, yeah, that's it. Let's write some stuff like this. Wencho being a new vehicle for delivering these new songs was very inspiring for me personally, as I felt like a more integral part in the music I was helping create. Being appreciated goes a long way, even for a songwriter. Lyrically and emotionally, the song began as a thought of an evening drive along the Madison River, combined with the character longing for retribution in some choices he had made, and how cathartic driving can be for sorting out your thoughts and centering yourself. So there's some deep thoughts from Jimbo. And I think this was, from what I remember when I first heard it, this was one of the first times in a long time that I remember you guys actually being on the same page wholeheartedly, at least initially when you guys first did this one. So
yeah, actually, dog, this song's pretty special for me and Jim, because this was that's right. This was the song that rekindled our fire. And it was also like, so for those of you guys who know Dog and I, we've done this a long time and we're very comfortable with who we are at this point. So Jim and I started saying, screw it. No one goes to Wencho shows to see blazing drum solos or crazy live, lead guitar shredding. It's just like, dude, sing stories, like just get to the story. So Madison was originally a story about a trucker. We figured it was a trucker who he needed forgiveness for something, and we never really say it. And then finally on one of the last edits, the very last word is his request for redemption. How's that for what do you call it? Building the tension, dog. We're such professionals in storytelling, let me tell you.
It's always tense. It's always tense around you.
So yeah, when people ask what's your favorite song, my favorite Clinton song is Follow Me Home, and my favorite Wencho song is Madison. So this is my favorite Wencho song. All right, let's play it.
Go ahead. I can't.
Let's tune our guitar first. It's the third time it's gone out of tune. My basement's a little cold. Crazy. All right, here we go. Madison. First time I laid eyes on you, I fell in love. Maddie, you took my breath away. I wanted to discover you, every curve and avenue, illuminated in the moonlight. What a beautiful sight. I'm windshield dreaming tonight. Sunbeam splash, dusty dashboard calling me back home. And to think that I might ever leave Virginia. The days are long, nights are cold and lonesome. I miss you, Madison. It's time I'm home, I hope I'll be forgiven. Shadows from the billboards slow me down as I try to chase the light. Fumbling for an explanation why. But regrets are like the reasons, they keep changing like the seasons. Wheels keep rolling on, so do I. Maybe I was wrong. It's just what I do, I move on. Sunbeam splash, dusty dashboard calling me back home. And I think that I might ever leave Virginia. The days are long, the nights are cold and lonesome. I miss you, Madison. This time I'm home, I hope I'll be forgiven. 'Cause you know time's a funny thing. It makes you think about what is and what might have been. And I know reality gets the best of me, but a man can dream. I imagine you riding shotgun with your easy smile. A man can dream that my loneliness stops haunting me mile after mile. Sunbeam splash, dusty dashboard calling me back home. Think that I might ever leave Virginia. Days are long, the nights are cold and lonesome. I miss you, Madison. This time I'm home, I hope I'll be forgiven. This time I'm home, I hope I'll be forgiven for leaving. Here.
You guys getting feedback from what I'm hearing?
Yeah, how's the audio? Because my ears, I don't, sadly, the way this software's set up, I can't really hear what I got going on. You know, we're only professionals. Jeez, boy away. Like, drinking, no drinking, Randy. You take the Irish pub away from me, the Irish pub stage. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Dog can attest to that.
I missed that. I was reading the chat.
I love Irish, the stage on an Irish pub, but you give me a camera and a computer and I'm screwed. You know, like, give me a crowd, let's party. Give me a computer. Anyway.
Judd, your comment is funny because this is actually more work for me than if I was up playing.
That's so true.
And singing. This is extremely hard work for me right now. Trust me.
He's not lying. He just says, John, show up and open your email and click a link. That's all I do. And then it took me, I don't know, 20 minutes, dog, to figure out audio.
Yeah, exactly. So this for the folks that are just joining tonight and weren't here last week. This is a format for us to provide some variety other than just going live and doing live shows. And it's a little bit of a different format, obviously, acoustic or sonically, because it's not really meant for a performance-based situation. This is more for like interviews and podcasts and stuff. But we thought it'd be cool for you guys to kind of hear some of the songwriting details and some stories that, like I said last week, even when we see you guys, we don't really get to ever talk and hang out. We see you, we get to see you, hug you, maybe, unless we stay at your house. So this is kind of our way of being able to communicate. And so I was going to say, if in the chat room over here, if there's, we kind of have a schedule of some songs that we're going to go over tonight, but if there's questions or if you guys were always wondering about something random about a different song or whatever, we can definitely tackle that too. Last week, I wanted to do last week and this week, do the majority of the new record because these are songs that you guys haven't heard before other than maybe live a few times. And they have plenty of new storylines that are fresh in our minds because they're obviously new. So we're going to do that. And then as we go down the road here, we'll probably dig into some older stuff. But yeah, what's the next one? What are we going to do, John? What's the next one I told you?
So I called them up lyrics. It's funny. I've got everything. Weren't so young. And so,
yeah, we're so young.
Yeah. Okay. All right. I'll start this one out. Weren't so young. So Jim and I, so all these songs, by the way, I think 99% of them are going to be co-writes with Jim Napier. Jim and I have been really getting after it, and we use our phones. So like I'll send him a video, and he's a truck driver. So then he'll get his lunch break, and then he'll send me a video, and then I get to it, and then I'll send him a video, and 2 hours later he sends a video, and that by the end of 3 or 4 days, you've had 20 videos of song. How about these 6 lines? And then, all right, I took those 2 and I changed this word. So this was one of those songs that like, man, we're stuck. What should we write a song about? And I'm like, I want to write a song to my first love, telling her how awesome she was and how we could have made it if we weren't so young. The truth of it is, anybody's first love when you're 16 is, like you're doomed, and it's all good. But I just thought that would be a cool concept for a song. So Jim and I were listening to different music, trying to listen to like a record a day. And so we listened to a band called The Night Game. And I had completely forgotten about, like, I didn't forget about them, but I'd forgotten about listening to that record and then going, man, I want to, like, that's what fired up for Weren't So Young. I got so inspired musically. And there was a line, it's just like, I wrote down a line a long time ago. It felt so good to put my hands all over you. Well, obviously that's a fairly inappropriate line in the wrong context. So when we got this song, it was half done. And so we played it for our friend, Meg Gildehouse. Meg is a songwriter, and just said, Meg, any input if you want to co-write this with us. And so she told us about her first love. And I was like, well, let's write a verse about that. So the second verse was, she pitched in and helped with some melody things, and it's really come together. I really like this song. What did she have to say about this?
I was going to say, so Meg, our plan for this is that Meg is going to be on the record singing this along with John. Now, obviously, when we do it live, it will be him and I unless she can join us on stage if we're in the same town or something. So she will be definitely on the record as part of this song, and whenever she can join us live to do it, obviously she knows she's welcome on our stage anytime. So Jim, so Jim's notes, the ever elusive Jim Napier. You know how in Malcolm X he always refers to Elijah Muhammad as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, like that's how he addresses him before he does any quote by him. So it's going to be the ever elusive Jim Cranston Napier.
The Hermit
has this to say. Actually, we went out of order. You went off the set list, John. I gave you
I
the
just
other
called
one.
up the lyrics. Yeah, because it's pretty important here, dog.
Yeah. So we're so young. So Jim says John had most of this musically arranged in his head when we began the lyrics. Even lyrically, he had most of the rough ideas in place of the story we were trying to tell. We started initially with writing the lines for the hook he had mostly established, and the verses began to take shape from there. As we sometimes do, we hit a bit of a roadblock as far as the second verse, I believe. We both knew it wasn't right, but after several attempts to rewrite with new ideas, he ended up running this song by Meg, as he suggested a duet on this song with her, with each of them singing the verses from their point of view. Meg infused her super talents in and ran with it and added her energy and put the rest of the song together and fixed what needed to be fixed, and it ended up being a great collaboration. It's the demos on this are really great. You guys can't wait to share them with you when we get it all polished up. But Meg, she has her own thing. She's a main component of Arterial Drive out of Billings. She also does a lot of her own music, Gilda House music. She's got some sweet videos up, so you can go over to her page on Facebook and check her out. She's awesome, super, super talented, super, super sweet. The real deal. We love her, and we're glad that she's part of the posse. So you want to run through it or what?
Yeah, you bet. And it's not the last song that we will be writing with Meg. And the other cool part for the song Madison is our friend Meg will be playing violin on that song when we record it. So yeah, pretty much any fiddle you hear on the record will be her. Yeah, El Wencho is just this little what do you call it? You guys are all part of our inbred family. Gotta love Montana music. There's 7 musicians and we all hang out together. All right. So weren't so young. All right. 2, 1, 2. I'm not gonna remember the second verse, but I'll call it the lyrics. Looking down at the city lights, can't help but think of us. We park here for hours, watching time pass by. Never been so high. Your skin glowing in the moonlight, say shivers down my spine. Couldn't catch my breath with your lips pressed next to mine. Felt good to put my hands all over you. So caught up in that moment we both knew. Loving you is easy, the fire burning out of control. Tangled up in each other, so much we didn't know. Dancing in a Polaroid, it was way more than just first love. And I know we would have made it if we weren't so young. I remember the silence, the way you made time stand still. Every part of me wanted you, felt like I could fly. Never been so high, swept away in a tidal wave. All in and we're not afraid. I'd never wanted anything more. Smile when it crosses my mind. Felt good to put my hands all over you. So caught up in that moment we both knew.
Good job, buddy. Hey, we're so young.
Yay,
Good job.
team songwriting. Thanks, buddy. So, of course, I've missed everything in the chat room. But, hey, you guys are awesome. Thanks to everybody for being a part of this. Thanks for everybody for being here. ER, good to see you. There have been so many people that have logged on. I saw Janet Tang. Love you, Janet T. Sarah, it's good to see you.
Just to update. Sorry, go ahead. You finish up, bud. Go ahead.
Oh, I was going to say, I'm just giving all the shout outs to the chat room. Everybody in the chat room, I love you all. Carry on.
So to update everybody, I'm sure this is pretty much already well assumed. I don't have words. I'm sorry. We are moving forward with, we know that we're pretty much not going to be playing in April. May obviously is still up in the air. So we are actually supposed to have this weekend off regardless. So we probably will do another one of these next week, probably Wednesday. And then we're going to try to go live next Saturday, a week from this Saturday. So it'd be the 18th, to do something for our friends up in Whitefish. Because that would be the next show that we would be supposed to be at up at the Great Northern, which is not going to happen. So, you guys are going to know obviously as soon as we know, and we probably won't know until the governor says. So everybody's going to kind of know at the same point, which sucks, obviously, for many, many, many reasons. But somebody had commented earlier on here, and I wanted to acknowledge it. We are planning on doing this. And implementing this even when we are back out playing. I've said this numerous times, even before this kind of whole pandemic came about, we had planned on doing a lot of new engagement formats with you guys as part of this marketing rollout and promotional plan for the new project. And it's kind of a way for us to obviously keep in touch with you guys and stay tangible when we're not on the road. And kind of a way to interact and kind of bring some of the stuff that we used to do back in the day, full band, and John used to have his Tuesday night caps, and we used to have the full band, the forums and all that. And we kind of wanted to bring a lot of those aspects back, regardless of this quarantine and stuff. So this was all kind of part of the plan. It just got fast tracked, obviously. So we are planning on doing this. I would love to do an actual podcast with people who know what the hell's going on, tech wise. So maybe that'll actually happen at some point. But John lives in Helena. For those of you that don't know, I live in Bozeman. And so podcast is actually pretty doable, as is this, as long as we have ability to do it remotely. So that is kind of the plan for the foreseeable future. Like I said, to be able to bring some variety to this, and obviously have some stuff where you guys can ask us questions that aren't related to music or whatever you want to know, I guess. But hopefully, and I know last week we got a lot of good feedback based off of this, because it's kind of something that's not real normal, especially right now. So we appreciate you hanging in there and kind of going along with the flow with us, adapting and abiding as you do. So next song, the next song is called Lady Sedona. And this one, I'll just tell you, when I first heard it, was really stoked about the actual kind of the Arabian scale of it, or Egyptian kind of vibe. Was really unlike anything that we had done before, and it's really fun to play based off of that for me. So, John, why don't you say what you want to? Anything to say on that or off of that?
So the whole song the idea was to write it around this. Really Arabian thing. And since Dog and I have never done anything like that, it was really exciting to screw around with, like a lot of Arabian type sounds. So Originally, it was just going to be a song about getting high in the desert. And then it kind of evolved into this story about a guy telling, we just assume as a younger guy, dude, all the bad stuff you're going to do to yourself, don't do it. And by the time it was done, it kind of became this song about your future self telling your past self what will happen if you relapse on the drugs that you haven't been doing without ever saying that. So that was kind of how the poetry all came together.
Well, you just said it. Now they know. That's why this is how you know. You heard the rest of the story.
But once again, if the casual listener that would just hear this on a record at some point and say, like, you were a hardcore fan and you got the lyrics, it's not obvious that you're talking to your like your future self is talking to yourself. It's never once, let me tell you, kid. It's just, it's a conversation. It's a one-way conversation, whether the other person's listening or not. I don't know. But yeah, lyrically, that's just, it stands on its own. But since that's the sentiment behind it, like you're telling yourself, don't go into the desert and do a bunch of drugs. So what did I,
or you can, and then write a different song about it. That's fine.
Yeah, true. Well, the songwriting process always, you start with an idea and then what about this? What about that? And then, a song about, well, a song about dancing all night becomes a song about farming sugar beets in the hot, hot sun. So that's just how the editing process
There you
works.
go. There you go. So here's what the ever elusive Jim Napier has to say.
Ever elusive.
John played this cool riff with these stunning Arabian scales, and we thought, this needs to be some kind of weird spiritual storytelling adventure in the desert. Yeah. That was in quotes.
We were supposed to.
Initially, we were talking silver mines and hiking mountains while on mushrooms or something. And then John said, who are the characters in it? And Jim, I said, Lady Sedona. He said, yep, that sounds great. And we ran with it. And I believe that we had a rough draft by the end of the day. So obviously those two were cosmically connected at that point in time, during that point of that day, because that was boom, boom, boom. And they were out with it. And there was no, according to Jim, there wasn't even any, push pull on either one of them. They're just like, sounds good, go. So that one, there's a rarity right there already. And this, if I'm right, Raj, this was pretty much like a couple taker. Like it was pretty much, it hasn't evolved much.
No,
correct?
No, from the first time I played it for you, we've played it like other than just tightening up melody and not forgetting words. And so one thing that always happens, Jim and I will write a bunch of words on a piece of paper, and then John McClellan stands on stage and tries to remember those words and spits out a bunch of words that eventually become the real words to the song, because John's an idiot and doesn't remember all the poetry that we toiled over. And Dog can attest to this. I'm like, God, I got a verse to this. And Dog, he literally looks at me and goes, you wrote this. You don't even know your own song. Yes, that's how ADD I am. But it is amazing how when it's somebody else's song, I can remember it like that. But when it's your own, God dang, your brain, it's a different place. And Jim and I are super, super, how do I say this? Like, we are uber nervous about ever sounding like anybody else's melody or stealing a lyric ever. We want to be original, whether it's good or bad, whatever. That's music. But we really try and be as original as we can be. And clearly the Arabian scale isn't an original idea. But for us, like, I don't listen to a lot of Arabian music. So, and I've said this joke on stage on the microphone, Kierdog, that if anybody knows anybody who plays Egyptian violin, have them call us, because we'd love to have an Arabian fiddle sound on this song. I love how an Egyptian violin would be different than a American violin. I'm making fun of myself if you didn't get that. So, all right, Lady Sedona. Yeah, Lady Sedona. Here we go.
I'll type it in so that they...
Welcome to the desert, boy. Sit down and grab a drink. Your life may well depend on it, because anyone can see you come to chase your fortune from stories you've been told about Lady Sedona and her stash of devil's gold. Many men have set out to steal her fortune fair. They touch one piece of treasure, can't escape its snare. Sly Lady Sedona, she kills them with their greed. And to this day I'm still amazed that somehow I broke free. I felt her cast a spell on me. My eyes grew big and bright. My laughter filled the canyon. I flew into the night. intoxication, sweetest taste of light. Lady buried me in gold before the sun's first light. Listen, boy, she'll urge you stay around. You go there, you'll never come back down. Her kiss is electricity, I felt the fire burn. I slipped into the atmosphere to be with only her. She wrapped her arms like chains around me, I'll never return. Lady Sedona. Later watch me suffer and laugh as people bleed. I crawled the days through blinding sun upon my hands and knees. When I reached the river, I let myself fall in. I didn't care if I would ever get back out again. I felt the water take me a day or maybe more. When I awoke, I scrambled from the rocks up on the shore. A hand reached down to grab me, the fist of Father Fate. He said, you'll live to tell the tale, and the lady backed away. Though she never took her eyes off of me, she said, you already know your destiny. Her kiss is electricity, you'll feel the fire burn. You'll slip into the atmosphere to be with only her. She'll wrap her arms like chains around me, you'll never return. Lady Sedona. You chased me. She shook her head and smiled. I heard my own voice echo on the frigid air reply. I've killed many before you, and you'll be back this way. For greed will be the monster that'll kill us all someday.
Nice job, dude.
Live musical effects on the vocal processing.
Well done, well done, well done.
There he is. Yeah,
there he is.
Lady Sedona. And for anybody who plays guitar, that is one of the most fun guitar riffs that I've ever played. It's hard.
That one's fun to play for me too, because you get them hopping on that one. It's like one of those.
There have been
you guys all have songs that you've heard throughout your lifetime that they're like haunting in like a good way. Like they just make you, like, even if you don't like to dance, you just like that's like our stomping one. That one's awesome. I get cranking on that thing. That was hard to sit still.
I believe you. There have been times, friends in the chat room, that Dog and I will start that song and it'll be about 102 beats a minute. And by the end of the song, it's 118 beats a minute. You know, like we'll start out, her kiss is electricity. By the end of it, her kiss is electricity. I felt my fire. Like it just rocks.
That's me.
Hard.
That's my fault.
We've gotten really good. Well, we've gotten really good in the last 6-7 months, but that first couple of months that we played it, we would just be like, "Yeah, it's rocking! Woo! Get fired up, dog."
We have some friends from Australia that are tuning in on the chat room. Lyndon and Carrie.
Heck yeah.
They've been with us for a long time, like since like the Who Invited Roger days, I believe.
Yeah, Clinton's days, man. Clinton's days. Since the original.
And so they're joining us from Australia, from down under.
Down under. Yeah. Carrie and Lyndon, I hope you guys are healthy and safe. This is crazy. Ugh. All right, doggy, moving along. What was the next song? We're gonna do 4.
I want to do Upside Down, your Western.
Love it.
So you start this one, and then I'll talk about the quotes there.
Sure. All right. So Upside Down. I told Jim, dude, I've never written a Western. And he goes, well, let's write a Western. And that was probably, I'm not even joking, maybe within a week of writing Lady Sedona. And it was just screwing around. And then when this song was finished, it was like, yeah, that's a keeper. Originally, it was just going to be about a guy who a girl broke his heart. And that's the girl who turned my whole world upside down. And we got through the first verse, and Jim threw out some incredible poetry. Like, the distance grew between us like a river in a flood. One day you see the fence post, and the next you just see mud. Like, that is so good. And then we get done with that first verse, and I'm like, no, this girl broke up with him. He's a loser. And so he's going to start a grow operation, and then she kills him because she's a cop. And Jim was like, all right, let's write it. So in verse 2, you find out he starts a grow operation, and verse 3 he gets raided.
So right there. Yeah. Oh, go ahead. My bad.
Oh, no.
You finish.
Well, of course, anybody who's a fan of El Wencho knows that no one's afraid of my absurd songwriting and our absurd, performances of this kind of stuff. So it was fun. Go talk.
Oh, I was just going to say that's exactly the premise. That is quintessential why we are an indie band, because because the whole just go with it, man.
Yeah, just write a song. If it's good, it's good. If it's not, it's not. Yeah.
Like there's no. I mean, I said this last week, where there's songs that we play and that have made the cuts on the record that we like, that might not transfer over as well as we like appeal wise for you guys. And then there's songs where we'll have people come up and request them all the time. We're like, they really like that one, huh? Crazy. So like there's this, like, sometimes it's actually not a hindrance, but it's not ideal, because there's so many facets. And granted, you want to put out stuff that you want to play, and you want to put out stuff that you want to sing and that you think that has some foundation to it. But we also aren't just going to cater to that either. So it is fun to be able to have all these filters to kind of run it through. And by filters, it's like a sheet of toilet paper. It's not like we're just like, like it's if we want to play it, we're going to put it,
that's
and
it. Like,
so that kind of piggybacks onto this next project when it comes out is, in our opinion, based off of a lot of new filters and new things that we've been branding an identity and kind of some behind the scenes things. We feel like it's going to be the most cohesive thing that we've done yet. I attribute a lot of that to John and Jim's songwriting has really streamlined itself out in the last year, especially. They've kind of gotten back in this groove, but they've both experienced so much since the last real batch of songs that they cooked up came out. And because of it, even unintentionally, there's just this cohesion with the 10 new songs that we have. We actually have more than that, but the 10 that we're going to put on the record.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of all working into this, this place where we haven't necessarily been yet. And who knows if it'll be more or less successful. I guess my point is that we're not really worried about that. What we want to do is, what we know that we have. I mean, John and I both know, without any feedback from anybody else, you can just feel it. The quality of this batch of songs that we have, just based off of songwriting and the cadence and the melodies and the stories. There's not a lot of like gimmicky, quirky, stuff like that. It's really tangible stuff based off of, if it's not real life experiences, it's definitely places that people have been upstairs here, and really excited about it. And that was one of the reasons why we were really kind of on track to put this thing out in May originally, because that's just, it really works out good with our calendar. A lot of the times, like every other project we've put out has been around then. And we actually had to pump the brakes and be like, these aren't ready yet. There's more tweaking to be done on these songs. Even the way that we're performing them, we're still kind of learning them. And so we're just going to hold off because, again, being an indie band, we can have that. We have that liberty. We don't have somebody breathing down our neck saying, put it out, or you owe us another record, or this and that and that. So, but there's also a fine line too between doing that and then tearing apart and rebuilding them so much that you drive yourself crazy. At some point you have to put them out because they're done. But should I read what Jim has to say here?
I would love it. Your whole sentiment, basically, it still goes back to if we get high on the music, we're going to play it. And we know that the fans that we now have, get high on the music that gets us high too. So it's kind of
Right.
it's a really cush place to be for El Wencho because no one's going to pay $5 or $10 at the door to go see a band that they don't know their songs, let alone like them. So it's kind of nice. And
Well,
we see
especially
that
at this,
Yeah,
especially
so-
at this point.
So literally, if the songs get us high, they're going to get you high, and that's what's going to go on the record. I would love to hear what Jim said about this.
So
For the song
the
Upside Down.
the ever elusive Jim Napier, and I quote: "This was really fun adventure in writing for both of us. I had sang John a couple verses of an idea I had for a sort of sad song. The distance grew between us like a river in a flood. One day you see the fence post, and the next you just see mud.
I just said that.
Actually, all of verse 1 was originally a part of my sad song. The hook was something like, could this be the girl who took my world and turned it upside down? John, in turn, said, what if this was about a guy who turned his world upside down? And I said, yes.
Oh, yeah. The guy's
So-
self-destructive. I'm sure that's probably what I said. That sounds exactly like me. This
But
guy's self-destructive. He's a loser, Jim. We got to write this. I'm a loser.
so the people that weren't with us last week, these quotes that I've been reading from Jim, you know, there's obviously a lot of similarities between him and John, songwriting style wise,
Yeah.
thought process, creativity, all that stuff, and even their morale. You know, obviously they have a great rapport with each other, but they are totally different people in some aspects, and so there you can either tend to be they get a roadblock and get stuck, and they have to bring somebody in for. But the collaboration, the way that they work together so long, that Jim feeds off of John, and they both end up just kind of gelling. And that's another great example of taking something that could be, in Jim's mind, beautiful and poetic and sad, and John thinks might be kind of like, you know, not funny, but there's like this more like glamorous side to it that has this, you know, for lack of a better term, fucked up series of events, and they create this thing out of it, and that is where I am glad that I'm at where I'm at with I kind of just stand back and watch those guys create what they create, because diving into that is a whole nother level of crazy that they do well enough on their own. So I just leave them be. And when it comes to me, I'm like, oh, that's great. How about this or this and this? And I've been trying to get a lot more involved in the process with it and the collaborating of it. But they definitely have a well-oiled machine when it comes to tossing ideas off of each other and then creating either on, you know, Jim's usually more lyrical and John's got the melodies and kind of the format, but they do a really good job of bringing it together. So why don't you do that one and then we can get these guys out of here.
Upside Down. All right. It's a Western. And for those of you guys who come to our shows, we always make the comment that can't have a Western without someone getting shot. Here's a breakup song. Distance grew between us like a river in a flood. One day you see the fence post and the next you just see mud. Your eyes, they told a story on that cloudy afternoon that you'd be moving on and there was nothing I could do. Choked up on my sorrow, I pulled down my oily hat. I tore away the rear view, there'd be no need for that. Packed and broken hearted like a voiceless balladeer. Hard rain from above matched downpour of my tears. I could hear the lonesome weeping willow whisper in the wind, waving at my windshield like a lonesome mandolin. Shacked up in a tiny cabin east of Edgartown, dreaming about the girl who turned my whole world upside down. I built myself a greenhouse and I hired a couple guys. They know to grow the strains that bring them joy through bloodshot eyes. When harvest time was done, it made that dirty money clean. Guys like me don't get the girls like you without the green. I called to say I got a job that pays me like a king. Of course you didn't answer. You just let the bastard ring. I couldn't help but wonder if you'd found yourself a man. Little did I know that you were making other plans. I heard you got your act together, started laughing new. You went to the academy and joined the boys in blue. Now you're locked and loaded with SWAT team all around. I'm braided by the girl who turned my whole world upside down. Cutting buds when all the doors blew open like a bomb. Shouts and shots and police pouring in with weapons drawn. Like a fool, I grabbed a pistol strapped upon my side. A flash, then another one. 2 good men had died. Lace it up like fireworks and on a summer cruise. Hops and crops and flower tops are mowed down in plain view. When the place fell silent, I fell down and knew right then I'd taken half a dozen rounds. My time was at an end. Her smoking gun above me as I start to fade to black. I only went through all this to try and get her back. The lights go out, my body's limp, I'm splayed out on the ground. Shot to pieces by the girl who turned my whole world upside down. The lights go out, my body's limp, I'm splayed out on the ground. Shot to pieces by the girl who turned my whole world upside down. Cut it up, roll it up, cut it up, roll it up, cut it up, smoke it up, I'm high. Pump it in, take a hit, hold it in for a bit, put it in the roach clip. I'm high, roll high. That's what you get, kids, when you have an ADD lead singer. Doggy, thanks for arranging this. Thanks for firing this up, man, and doing the book of the face and the tube of the U and the live of the B. Be Live, YouTube, Facebook. I love you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I love you too. This is fun. I'm glad that you guys are enjoying this. This is different for us, obviously. I actually did a self-guided tutorial on the day before I did this last week to kind of figure this out. But this is fun. It's fun to be able to share these stories, and it's long enough to where if people want to bounce out, they can or whatever. I really appreciate you guys. I can't emphasize this enough, and I speak for John when I say I know there's a lot going on as far as even live performances and streaming, and there's a lot of content that you guys can sift through. Appreciate you guys hanging in there with us, trying to make this variety show all kind of happen and stay relevant. I am going to post this tonight on our YouTube page for the folks that weren't here. Obviously, it'll still be the same chat. It's just not going to be in real time. You'll be able to watch it here on our Facebook page as well. I'll go through the comments when we're done here and kind of respond to some of your questions and stuff if we didn't cover all of it. Just know that you're going to know when we know as far as when we're going to get back out there. I did have some folks that were sent by different venues to kind of get a hold of us as far as rescheduling. Unfortunately, there isn't really anything to reschedule because our schedule is pretty much at this point, or was, full until October. So it's not like I have any open dates to kind of put somebody into. We're going to move ahead with the kind of the premise that everything that has been canceled will eventually come back around, but I don't really know yet. I don't have an answer for anybody. So hang in there with us. When we get out of this, whatever's on the calendar, we're going to jump into. If for some reason that's not going to happen, then we'll try to replace something with that. So there's some private parties and stuff that we don't think we're going to be able to do. I know it's a big suck all the way around, but the good news is that we've got technology and we got each other, and there's a lot of old archival stuff that we can go through. Support your local guys, because even the local guys that are hanging out, and those are the guys that need it the most. I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about just like local small town guys that are getting their start, that are, really savvy with this tech stuff, and they don't play a lot of live stuff, but they're doing this because this is what they're comfortable with. Hang out and support those guys, and take care of the venues, please, because without the venues, we're not going to go anywhere. And do whatever you can to give back to not just your music friends, but your artists and your sculptor friends and your cooks and your chefs and everybody that's near and dear to you for your grassroots following and your community and all that stuff. So it takes a village for real. So thank you guys. John, you got anything else you want to say?
No, I was going to say, if we do an encore, we're going to do an encore, and let's do Angel from Montgomery for John Prine, man. Because it's such a weird time, dude.
Sure.
Because somebody else, encore. And I'm like, dude, there was something I thought of earlier this week. Oh, yeah. One of our greatest American songwriters of ever is no longer with us. But yeah, for people who don't know John Prine, I was never, I didn't know who John Prine was until I'd been playing guitar for several years. So I bought a record called Road Tested. It's a double live disc by Bonnie Raitt. And there was a song on there, Angel from Montgomery. And I just loved it. And I learned it. And then, so I'd play it with Blackwater, an old band of mine. And I said, here's Bonnie Raitt's song. And then somebody at a set break came up and said, it's actually a John Prine. I'm like, John who? John Prine. So that's what led me down the rabbit hole of John Prine. And to this day, this is the only John Prine song that I still cover. But I've never learned In Spite of Ourselves. But all that said, rest in peace, John Prine. Thank you for your gift of music to the human race. And we're doing our part to give the gift of our music to the human race. And,
Full moon right there.
It's awesome.
He's here.
It's awesome. So we're howling for Johnny. Angel from Montgomery. Yeah, Angel from Montgomery, a la Bonnie Raitt. Love y'all. And when we're done here, we'll call it quits. So rest in peace, John Prine. And be safe and healthy, everybody. Angel from Montgomery. All right. I am a woman named after my mother. My old man is another. My child is grown old. Dreams were lightning. Thunder was desire. This old house would have burned down long time ago. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. When I was a younger, I had me a cowboy. He wasn't much to look at, was just a free rambling man. But that was a long time. No matter how hard I tried, these dreams seem to roll on by like a broken down dam. Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. There's flies in the kitchen. I hear them buzzing. Lord, I ain't done much since I woke up today. How the hell can a person go to work in the morning and come home in the evening and have nothing to say? Make me an angel that flies from Montgomery. Make me a poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. To believe in this living is just a hard way to go. poster of an old rodeo. Just give me one thing that I can hold on to. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. Leaving this living is just a hard way to go. Rest in peace, Johnny.
Amen. Love y'all. Thank you.